again, to go forth in search of the more promised in the outstretched arms of the sun. The solitary soul greets the day, sometimes with fear, sometimes resignation, but always with hope that this day will be better than the one that went before. A day in the life of a soul is joy and laughter. It's sadness and confusion. A day in the life of a soul is one of reaping what was sown in the day, in the month, in the year before. To shorten a single day is to reject that harvest.
How beautiful those spacious skies that watch over all God's children.
To your friend from Evergreen for a beautiful poem, beautiful music. We have now Professor Alan Gilbert, who made it from Boulder, where he was engaged in anti-war activities as well. He probably needs no introduction, but let me just say he's a long-time close friend and fellow fighter for all the just causes. And many of you may have heard his talks, debate, etc. In the last few weeks. He has, I think, played a crucial role in elevating the level of debate and the level of consciousness in this area. He's also a poet, and now he will read some of his poems.
Thank you. I should say I spoke at a teach-in in Boulder this morning, and about 400 people came out at 10 o'clock to a panel I spoke at with 4 other people. And then in front of the memorial, Student Memorial Center, the whole area was filled at the teach-in at noon, which I just came from. It's one of 15 schools, mainly high schools in the area, where people have walked out to oppose the war today. In Washington, Sam Hamill and many other representatives of Poets Against the War turned in 12,000 poems and statements by poets today to Congress, and they're having a reading tonight. Maybe somebody has seen the pro-war poet, or even the pro-war person. But I think the sea is rising, here as in every other country. And George Bush, like King Canute, can tell the sea to go down. But I think, like the Turkish parliament, that all the money and all the weapons in the world may not succeed in making it go down. I have a couple of poems about Iraq which surround some other anti-war poems of Once Upon a Time, which I will read. The first actually has a title, Genesis. Let there be light on sands of the desert, on black sewage in a Basra schoolyard, thin legs picking a shaky, on a girl's big eyes in a hospital bed, belly swollen. Let there be on women making their way uncovered, on Baghdad bazaar men bartering geometries of light, Hiroshima-like. And the word was with George, and the word was George. This is from a time when I was rather younger, faced with a draft. You'll lose your security. My sister revokes family silence. And I sign, we won't go. My name, without a flourish. The soldier edits silence, past the mark, She is 3 seconds into silence. Step onto my hand and is a book of silence. And this is of a summer long ago. One, when I was in Pakistan with my parents. Jute fibers rasp and sting. Visitors gasp the humid heat. A woman tends a clacking loom, 30 no more. Her ring finger no more. I peer through heavy air. Does no one have a set of 10? The Dhaka mill guide jabbers rapidly as if economists will understand. The Dutchman has gone green, the Scandinavian turns away. My ashen father covers his mouth, and I stagger out into the mere heat of the monsoon. Marx called this primitive accumulation, whispered my teacher, father. 150 years and capitalism can barely show its bloody hands in daylight. Come rains, I open my mouth in stubborn prayer. Will sheets of heavy rain swell the Ganges, wash the shores, the walls, wash out the blood? 2. Money flees from east, internal colony to west. Jute-owning Adamjis, their son's my friend at Harvard, jowl by jowl. My father hates Punjabi racism with the powerful. His group, Harvard advisors to Governor Wallace, stand sheeted at Alabama door to block a lone student. 3. My parents toured Camilla cooperatives, small farmers working to make do. My mother caught their glow redolent of anarchist farms she'd known so long ago, exuberant as she wheat near spoiled in Springfield silos. He'd made a works program so that the poor be fed. Bengali hands forged dams, cut roads, drew pride in public space. 4. I journeyed with my mother to the Sundarbans, great Ganges swamps, swept by the busy clouds. Our steamer chugged late against the current to the government house, near ruin or unfinished, who can say? Tigers, boatmen say, come stalking by the door, even to bedrooms. Crocodiles lie easy on that beach. The board from stern to porch shivers, unsteady, under hesitant. Perhaps, Mom says, the sleeping's better on the boat. Come morning, beach is empty to tall grass. I and a guide, he's left his gun behind. Walk in sunlight by the muddy water. We stare at a giant paw print where the lithe tiger had gone down to drink. 5. That fall at Harvard, I told Ashraf Adamji, bespectacled scion, of his family factory. Charming as always, he'd squinted at the tail and at his nails and never spoke to me again. And this last, there was a report done on KGNU by a couple of folks who've been going around Iraq actually trying to report what's going on there. And in Tikrit, which is the home of Saladin and now Saddam Hussein, who imagines himself Saladin, there is a museum. And in the museum are not samples of the anthrax which they received from the United States or the sarin nerve gas or many other things, but trophies that Saddam has gotten. But some of the trophies are not there. And that occasioned this little item, sorry for the explanation. Inspection, Tikrit Museum. The Silver Horse, from President Ronald Wilson Reagan, USA, to President Saddam Hussein, neighing and pawing, is hidden away. Thanks.
Thank you, Alan. And I wonder if Todd is here. Is Todd here? No, well, he's not here. He was going to do Oklahoma accent in this poem, but since he's not here, I'll have to try my best. This is a poem that's called War Sonata 2. And I also want to make another pitch for our 2 volumes of poems there, so that we can pay for this microphone. The economist in me is telling me. And the first volume actually has War Sonata 1. So after hearing War Sonata 2, if you want to know about War Sonata 1 during the last Gulf War, there's your chance. Okay, it also is a tribute to Paul Robeson. Many years ago, when I was just barely a teenager, I had the privilege of meeting him. And he actually sang Joe Hill for us. I've changed just one verse, and I won't sing all the verse, but first War Sonata will end, and then Joe Hill will begin, and I'll leave you with the spirit of Joe Hill. War Sonata 2. 1. America, the great land of cognoscenti conmen, sends out invitations. 2. Death dance, death masks, death and desert roses for Valentine, skull garlands for born-again satanic saints. 3. All words are not words. War is a word that can kill. Macabre fantasies die hard. Said Dean Moriarty, damn, what kicks, what a land. That was on the road in the 50s. Now, we only have more concrete jungles and soul troubles and bombs, bombs, and more bombs. Blessed are the dead. I dreamed I saw Joe Hill last night, alive as you and me. Says I, but Joe, you're 10 years dead. I never died, says he. I never died, says he. The copper bosses killed you, Joe. They shot you, Joe, says I. Takes more than guns to kill a man, says Joe. I didn't die, says Joe. I didn't die. From San Diego up to Maine, men and women will fight for love and joy and peace. It's there you'll find Joe Hill. I dreamed I saw Joe Hill last night, alive as you and me. Says I, but Joe, you're 10 years dead. I never died, says he. I never died, says he. I never died, says he. Now, an anti-war poetry reading wouldn't really be complete without including at least one French poet. So we decided to include Jacques Prévert and his very famous poem Barbara. And Jim Cole will read the translation by Lawrence Ferlinghetti.
Yes.
Okay. Well, we'll see.
In the spirit of translations, I should tell you before that dulce et decorum est pro patria more means how it is sweet and good to die for your country. So you can, if you heard me read before, now you know what the Latin was. So, this is Barbara by Jacques Prévert. It was written, I think, in 1945. Ferlinghetti did the translation sometime in the late 50s or early 60s. Remember, Barbara? It rained endlessly on Brest that day, and you walked smiling, blooming, enraptured, streaming in the rain. Remember, Barbara? It rained endlessly on Brest, and I ran across you on the Rue de Siam. You smiled, and me, I did the same. Remember, Barbara? You whom I didn't know, you who didn't know me. Remember though, remember that day even so. Don't forget. A man was taking shelter under a porch, and he cried out your name, Barbara! And you ran in the rain toward him, streaming, enraptured, blossoming, and you threw yourself in his arms. Remember that, Barbara, and don't be angry if I speak so intimately. I don't talk that way to all those I love, even if I've seen them one time only. I say that to all those who love, even if I don't know them yet. Remember, Barbara, don't forget that wise and happy rain on your happy face, on that happy town, that rain on the sea, on the arsenal, on the Ouessant scow. Oh, Barbara, what a screwed up war. What has become of you now? Under that rain of iron, of steel, of gore, and the one who held you in his arms lovingly. Is he dead, missing, or living still? Oh, Barbara. It rains endlessly on Brest as it rained before, but is no longer the same. Everything is gutted, but it is a rain of grief, terrible and desolate. It isn't even the storm anymore, of iron, of steel, of gore. Quite simply some clouds which die like dogs, dogs which vanish into the flow of water on Brest and go to rot far away, far, very far away from Brest, of which there is nothing left.
Well, it's a long poem, as you can see, as you heard. It's a very good long poem. I was going to sing you the last half of it, but actually we are fortunate. There is a student from France, Agnes, at GSIS. She can read the whole thing for you. So I am relieved of my responsibilities, and I welcome her.
Actually, I'm from Switzerland. Rappelle-toi, Barbara, il pleuvait sans cesse sur Brest ce jour-là. Et tu marchais souriante, évanouie, ravie, ruisselante, sous la pluie. Rappelle-toi, Barbara, il pleuvait sans cesse sur Brest. Et je t'ai croisée rue de Siam, tu souriais. Et moi, je souriais de même. Rappelle-toi, Barbara, toi que je ne connaissais pas, toi qui ne me connaissais pas, rappelle-toi. Rappelle-toi quand même ce jour-là, n'oublie pas, un homme sous un porche s'abritait, et il a crié ton nom, Barbara. Et tu as couru vers lui sous la pluie, ruisselante, ravie, épanouie, et tu t'es jetée dans ses bras. Rappelle-toi cela, Barbara. Et ne m'en veux pas si je te tutoie. Je dis tu à tous ceux que j'aime. Même si je ne les ai vus qu'une seule fois, je dis tu à tous ceux qui s'aiment. Même si je ne les connaissais pas, rappelle-toi, Barbara. N'oublie pas cette pluie sage et heureuse sur ton visage heureux, sur cette ville heureuse, cette pluie sur la mer, sur Farsenal, sur le bateau d'Ouessant. Oh, Barbara, quelle connerie la guerre. Qu'es-tu devenue maintenant sous cette pluie de fer, de feu, d'acier, de sang? Et celui qui te serrait dans ses bras amoureusement, est-il mort, disparu, ou bien encore vivant? Oh, Barbara, il pleut sans cesse sur Brest, comme il pleuvait avant. Mais ce n'est plus pareil et tout est abîmé. C'est une pluie de deuil terrible et désolée. Ce n'est même plus forage, de fer, d'acier, de sang. Tout simplement des nuages qui crèvent comme des chiens qui disparaissent au fil de l'eau sur Brest. Ils vont pourrir au loin, très loin de Brest, dont il ne reste rien.
Well, that's a good note on which to finish the formal part of this program anyway. If there is anybody who wants to read a statement or read a poem, please step forward. This is your chance. Rich? Rich Shannon is a PhD candidate at GSIS.
I have a poem that GSIS graduate emailed for this occasion. She graduated about 3 years ago. Her name is Tamara C. Rue, and she wasn't able to be here today. Anyway, so I'll share this with you. It's not that long. It's called The Wars Outside. Bombshells